Well, hello everybody, and welcome to another daily chat with Andy the Cabby. I hope everyone is doing all right. It is, where are we? Sunday, isn't it? Yeah, Sunday. I've got a bloody early start tomorrow, so it's definitely Sunday. I wonder if anybody else has. I see we've got lots of people in the chat already. Good to see everybody. It's just little old me tonight, but we'll come to that in a minute. I've got a couple of bits of news for you. We have a new person in the chat, Emma Jones. She made herself known the other day. Just want to say hi to Emma, make sure everybody makes her feel welcome. She is a nurse, so one of the people that looks after us on a daily basis, puts up with all the this, that, and the other, and bloody good job she and everyone else does. So welcome, Emma, and hope you find this useful. Well, let's see who else we've got, shall we? While I'm just getting fired up and getting started, if I can ask everybody that's in the chat, please hit the like button, the thumbs up. That's what gets the algorithm tickled. That's what gets this live stream flown around everywhere. And if you are new to this and you haven't done so already, please consider subscribing to the channel as well, because that does help matters also. And all this information gets churned around all over the World Wide Web and YouTube. And we are doing very well right now. We're up to 34,604 subscribers. So we're getting there. We're really, really motoring, and I'm so pleased. Gary Thornbury, hello to you. Good to see you. Hope you're well, my friend. Bridget, good to see you as well. I hope you've been in contact with our mutual friend from America, Bridget. I won't say any more than that, but hope that's been useful for you. Julie Keys, good to see you. Uncle Gary is in the house. Hello, Ryan, Sanity Checkers. Ryan, that emoji I sent you earlier was supposed to be a face with a zip mouth, as if I'm saying nothing. It was supposed to be one of those. Gary, tomorrow is the day the Alamo fell to Mexican troops. That's another anniversary. Surf, good to see you. Handy Andy, my namesake. Bloodnose, there's a comment about the Alamo. I visited the Alamo once. It's a stone building amongst tall San Antonio office buildings. There we go. Reg D, why the back? Why the front? Why? Yeah, whatever. I used to love that. Who else we got in here? Blimey, all the chat's jumping away, isn't it? Kim Laura Fowler? Yes, good evening to you. Screwed Politics, good evening to you. Screwed Politics, I noticed he put a community post on his channel where he was going to start talking about crimes that interest him and tickled his fancy stroke taste buds and having a go at that. So well worthwhile. I do love a bit of crime stuff, so go and check that out when he gets going. Give him a shout out there. Anna Perkins, good to see you. The Fitness Hutch, another friend of the channel, hello to you. Does a mental health podcast with his wife at fairly regular intervals. Go and check that out. Very worthwhile. They're there to help people. If you haven't done so already, please go and look them up and subscribe. I also did a live stream with the Fitness Hutch, a couple of weeks ago now. So go and have a look at that as well. Gary, yes, hard to believe that only the Alamo and the church were there during the battle. Linda, hello to you. Trisha, Nigel the handyman. Hello, Rafi, good to see you. David L, Wondering Stuart 44. Mick, did you get my email about Funky Prepper? Yes, I did, and I replied to it. I'm not sure whether you received it or I've ended up in the land of the spam, but I'll talk about that in just a moment. And good to see you as well. Martin Sullivan, very funny guy, does parodies of YouTubers. If you like that sort of thing and you want to giggle, go check out Martin. And again, I did a live stream with him as well a couple of weeks ago. 36K, not 34. You're absolutely right. I got the numbers completely the wrong way around. It's 36,400 subscribers. So whatever I said, please ignore me. And Ryan knows my channel far better than I do. It's Sunday night and I've had a long day. Has anyone else had a long day, by the way? Let me know. Rob Best, good to see you. Morning Glory. Angela Graham, good to see you. My God, there's loads of them. Matt Woodson. Trevor, you made it. Good to see you. I'll share your good news in a minute. Julie Keys, Jay, yeah, we're all here. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. And to those of you that I haven't said hello to, hello. As we mentioned, Trevor, there's one thing I just want to pull up straight away, which I noticed earlier. Trevor has reached 85,000 subscribers. I noticed that this morning, so well done. Congratulations to Trevor and his channel. If you haven't done so already, and I'm sure many of you have, go and subscribe to him. Trevor has a problem at the moment that I'm struggling to get my head around. Trevor was monetized and he had all the benefits and everything that a YouTuber had. And even more importantly, some of the income that Trevor was, generating from YouTube was going to a good cause, veterans with PTSD and that sort of thing. And at some point, Trevor's lifeline or, monetization for his channel got cut. Boof. Totally dead. Now, of his own admission, Trevor realizes, okay, maybe I should have done this a bit differently, and he's got rid of an awful lot of the content that he felt they may have a problem with. And he's reapplied for monetization and he's got caught in this cycle. Oh, we're reviewing it. And then it gets to end of 30 days. We're reviewing it again. And what is it now, Trevor? It's 140, 150 days you've been waiting for them to pull their finger out. I think it's absolutely disgusting, personally. And you get YouTubers out there, which maybe shouldn't even be on there in the first place. And you get people like me, Trevor, just want to keep you informed, keep news going. It's nuts. It really is nuts. Yeah, there we go. 170 days. Now, I've done it myself. If anyone wants to support Trevor in this, get on Twitter and send a message to the YouTube account. You've got YouTube support, YouTube info, YouTube. There's all sorts of YouTube-related stuff. Say to them, why the bloody hell ain't Trevor been remonetized? I think it's shocking. There's people out there that shouldn't be, really, and we have this situation. It's nuts. Hopefully, it will right itself sooner or later, but I'm keeping an eye on that. Anyway, let's get to the next thing. Now, Mick Hardstaff mentioned earlier, Funky Prepper. I was made aware by Mick and another one of the subscribers in the comments that Funky Prepper gave me a shout out and said they would be very much interested in doing a live with me at some point. Now, Funky Prepper covers some of the things I do, like 15-minute cities, council tax, and all that sort of thing, which I'll come to in a minute. But I'll share with you what we actually swapped. This all happened over the last 24 hours. I put, hello, my name's Andy the Gabby Cabby on YouTube. I also gave him my real name as well. I've had a couple of my subs message me saying that I've had a mention on your channel and the possibility exists of perhaps you and I doing a live together. I have 2 points. Thank you very much for the mention. If a live would be of interest to you, I'll be up for it. The question is, what do we talk about and when? Well, today I got a reply from the Funky Prepper. And he said, hi, Andy. Thanks for emailing me. Good to hear that you're keen. I'll have a think about what to talk about and when, and I'll email you tomorrow, mate. Thanks again. So there we go. The Funky Prepper and I are talking, and I will get on there, and hopefully we'll do something in the not too distant future. That's what it's coming, and I look forward to it. Screwed Politics, you're very welcome. There are things that you do talk about fairly regularly that, for reasons we've spoken about privately, I can't go anywhere near. But I've always wanted to give you a shout out because of, chats we have and all that sort of thing. And if I can help you or any other YouTuber, I will do so. So hopefully, what you're going to try will be successful. That's the main thing. Anyway, some of the things that Yeah, before we go, I can't wait for Martin Sullivan to try and parody me. Ha ha. He's great. He's great. It's very understated, isn't it? His parodies. He just picks out certain characteristics and goes for it. It's really, really funny. Let's get rid of that. Yeah, the kinds of things that Funky Prepper talks about are 15-minute cities, council tax, and anything that we need to be aware of to prepare for eventualities. I mean, I'll show you something now if I can find it. Let's just get rid of this last one. Yep. Now this, unless anybody, I don't know if anybody is familiar with this at all, is a map of Canterbury. It's literally 15 miles away from me. I drive around the boundary of it every time I go and do an airport run. And you can see that it's divided up into different sections. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different sections with the actual main roads going around the outside, one of which being the A2. Now, the idea being, these are effectively residential zones where everybody will have everything they need to live, work, and exist within a 15-minute walk or cycle ride of their house. And you're not allowed to directly cross from one zone to another in a vehicle. If you do, you'll be fined. And you'll find that there are cameras going up here, there, and everywhere. This doesn't work for me. It really doesn't work. There are other cities, other councils all over the place. I've put a list up on my community page, and there are a lot more that are talking about doing this. And Oxford is a famous one. Now, they're talking about limiting you to 100 trips a year from one zone to another. And if you, go over that amount, then you'll be fined. Could you imagine if you're in one zone and then you need to get to like your grandmother in another zone and you've got to get there quickly? What do you do? I mean, the A2 going around Canterbury can get congested at the best of times. It's absolutely mad. Absolutely mad, and they want to add to it. There's another place in Canterbury as well known as Westgate Towers, and that's literally, as it sounds, an old tower. It acts like a city gate in the middle of Canterbury. Look up Westgate Towers on Google and you'll see what I mean. And they tried to pedestrianise that area and stop people going back and forward, and it caused absolute pandemonium. You couldn't get anywhere near the place. This is a sign of things to come, folks. It really is crazy. And how are they proposing that they get away with it? It really is. What's this? Andy, isn't it great when you meet someone who cares and a great mother who has had an ups and downs but got through? Brilliant, lovely woman. So, Andy, I had an amazing day. Good for you, David L. Good for you. And we got to keep on with these positives, haven't we? There's plenty. We live in a world of trouble, and we've got to keep positive all the time. Otherwise, we go all the way down the hill. I read some of the things on a daily basis. I mean, I'm well in tune with the news because that's what this channel is based on. And I get to know certain things, and it's crazy, isn't it, where we are, where we get to. Let's have a quick look at some of the comments and see if anybody's got anything. If anyone's got any questions or anything, by the way, always chuck them through, and I can have a look. Blood Nose, 102 watching, well, 106 now, 55 likes. Please press the like button. Yeah, come on. If you've just joined us, please hit that like button. It all helps. The algorithm sees the channel, the algorithm sees the live, and it just goes on and on and on. Talking of Canterbury, there was an event where people came out and expressed their opinions, is the best way I can say. And, I think more of these things are going to happen everywhere else. Jason's channel, you've made a point somewhere. I have question. I have question. I was told that I'd be getting my December cold weather payment. They sent me a letter in late January 2023. And then, what's the other one? There's another part to this, isn't there? But didn't indicate exactly when, and I'm still waiting. From what I'm led to believe, Jason, and don't quote me as gospel on this, I'm led to believe that those that were supposed to automatically get a cold weather payment before don't now. I don't know whether you have to apply or it's a different system or you've got to be in receipt of other things, but I think the whole system as it stood has been taken, screwed around and thrown in the trash is the best way of putting it. It might be worth kicking off and, talking to your energy supplier or, the DWP or whoever is responsible for this kind of stuff and, chasing their tail. The only reason I say that, I have a friend in the same boat as you, should have got the cold weather payment and hasn't. Yet every single year previously where a cold weather payment has been triggered, they've got it, no problem. So there is definitely something amiss there. Where are we? Hatchy, things are forming. Absolutely wonderful. Something big is on the way. What a wonderful time to be alive. Every day is a wonderful time to be alive, Hatchy. You have to believe that, because if you lose that, you lost, well, everything really. It's a nuts world. Let's have a look at these other comments and then we'll move on to the next thing. Yes, this is a thing that's reared its head. Richard Butler. Question, you should do a live sound test and put that thing about the sound being low or different to rest, Andy. You could have a mic showdown live. I think you're dead right there. I think you're dead right there because it's I record all the daily films on this and then I play them back before I upload them and they sound fine to me, but I'm recording in my garage, so there is a lot more space for the sound to get around than there used to be when there was in my cab. And that could be a factor, but I am looking at it. I've just seen another friend of mine pop up. Here we go. Hello, Phil Grimaldi from Police Off the Cuff. Good to see you, my friend. Hope you are well. I caught you on a live stream with Bill the other day. I think it was going through the Murdoch case. I was just listening to your analysis of the evidence, and that is very interesting. For those of you that don't know, Phil Grimaldi and Bill Cannon are two retired NYPD police officers. Bill, a retired sergeant, Phil, a retired detective. And they have their own channel where they talk about true crime, a very fascinating subject. So go and have a look at them. Phil makes a point. They're trying to implement congestion pricing in Manhattan. It's a tax for working people. See, London isn't the only place. It's happening everywhere. We have this situation with London where we have a congestion zone where if you drive into London, into the congestion zone, you have to pay, a charge. And then we have the ultra low emission zone, which expands more of London. And they're talking about it expanding the rest of London. And again, if your vehicle doesn't meet certain criteria, you have to pay a charge. Now, there is a lot of kickback about this in London, Phil. I don't know about Manhattan, whether that will happen. But through watching your footage, I understand there are cameras here, there, and everywhere. Number plate cameras to record citizens walking down the streets. In some instances, I can see the advantages. Say if a crime's been committed, you can form a timeline, can't you, from A to B? But in the main, they're just recording everything. It's all a cash cow. That's what I feel about it. I don't know about you. James, Andy, can you please tell me what the date for the next cost of living payment is? James, I wish I could give you the exact figure right now. I can't. I keep looking at this daily, all the time, and they're only saying the first one is coming around the springtime. I guess I'd say around the beginning or end of the financial year. And then the next ones will follow. But believe you me, as soon as I see something, I'll get on with it. Let's see who else we've got. A couple more. Yeah, Anna. Cameras do not stop crime. Police officers stop crime. More importantly, police officers should be there to prevent crime from happening in the first place. My dad, a retired police officer, I've had this conversation with him on many, many occasions. He's of the old school where they actually did want to prevent crime. Sanity, I have some new musical homages coming dedicated to different YouTubers. Yes, you did that earlier, didn't you? You played that. You played that short where you will do homages to different YouTubers. I look forward to that. Yes, I love it when you get so many comments and you click on something and it moves. Screw politics. Evening, Ryan. I hope you didn't mind me referring to you as Midge the other day, only said in jest. I got the joke. I'm sure Ryan got the joke as well. I know where you were coming from. And, you know, it'd be good. Absolutely average. Bit of a squeeze in here tonight. That punch bag looks like it could be a seat in a minute. Yeah, it's within arm's reach. All it was, I've had a move around because I had my table nicked. So everything's a bit out of perspective, but never mind about that. Yeah, there's been a bit of a thing I've noticed that I want to share with you. As I said earlier, I'm going to be doing a live at some point in a not too distant future with Funky Prepper. And I had a look at his channel to see what he's doing. And one of the things that came up was the issue of council tax. Now, I take the point of view with the issue of council tax. There are many people out there that say, excuse me, just waiting my whistle. There are many people out there that say you don't have to pay it, and these are the reasons why. There are no legal obligations there whatsoever for you to pay it. Okay. Now, I get it, I really do, but there is a system in place to make you pay council tax and twist your arm up your back if you don't, and they will rain hell down on you if you don't. And not everybody in this world is built strong enough up here to be able to cope with that hell. That being said, there is a methodology out there. Now, what I want to do is introduce you to somebody called Sovereign Empowerment. Now, I came across Sovereign Empowerment when I was looking at some of the stuff Funky Prepper did. There's Lorraine saying hi to Phil Grimaldi. Long time no see with both of them. Have to jump. Take Andy. And don't forget, subscribe to Andy's channel. Thank you, Phil. All the best to you. And if anybody likes true crime from a police perspective, go ahead and subscribe to Police Off the Cuff as well. Trevor, anytime. I don't know if you've got my email address. I know we're connected on Twitter, but I usually do lives on Sunday, and I know you do. So, you know, perhaps we can set something up in the next week or two. I look forward to that. That'll be marvellous. Anyway, council tax. I want to introduce you to someone called Sovereign Empowerment. Now, what they are suggesting is that the world isn't exactly as it appears to be. The whole entire system is set up to have you in a place where they can control you, they can govern you, they can take money from you, they can do what they want with you. Now, with everything I've learned over the course of my life, maybe the last 10 years, I've learned that sometimes you have to use the power of law to get away from that system. I hear things like common law, natural law, straw man, and all the rest of it. I get it. And a lot of that supersedes all of the legislation and rules and everything we have today, but not everybody can kind of get away with it. I want to show you a brief 30 seconds to a minute clip of this so you can get where this guy's coming from. There we go. It's a video called the UK council tax scam, how to legally not pay council tax. So let me mute me and I'll play a little bit of this.
I hope you're sitting comfortably for this video, because what I'm going to do here is literally draw back the curtains on the scam that is council tax. And yeah, it is absolutely a provable scam. And when you finish watching this video, guys, you're going to know this truth, and you will know the sheer criminality of what they are doing. Now, if you're like me, at first you're going to be angry, right? Then as you digest this information, you may well even kind of think it can't be true, right? There's skepticism there. But then you're going to finally accept that we live in this matrix of control and corruption, and this is what they are doing. And then you might want to do something about it like I did. And that, my friends, is the entire purpose of this video. I want to actually show you why it's a scam, first of all. And then with knowing that information, I want to explain how we can use their system, the legal system, against them and ensure that we win.
I don't know if that tickles your taste buds, but it certainly tickled mine. And I looked at the entire video, and it's some very, very interesting stuff. Now, there are different points of view on this. I'll put a link in the chat so you can save that and go and have a look at the whole video yourself. It's about 40 minutes long, and it looks at the different legislation governing the way councils are supposed to act, the way they're supposed to govern themselves, the way they're supposed to treat you. And it reveals, other ways in which you can approach a situation. Now, ultimately, when you default on a council tax bill, which is what it is at the end of the day, it's a bill, you get a summons. If that doesn't go through, you end up being summoned to court, and then potentially you could go to prison. There are many people that go to prison. Now, this guy that come on here, he said no one has ever been arrested for not paying their council tax. Now, not paying your council tax isn't a criminal matter. It's a civil matter. Now, last I looked, police can't arrest you lawfully for a civil matter. I'm sure they'll probably find a way around it. But I looked at the statistic before I came live, and I'll share this with you. I pulled it up on my phone, so it's separate. As hard as it is to believe, between 2010 and 2017, so the statistics here are about 6 years out of date, nearly 700 people were sent to prison for not paying their council tax. Many have not defaulted on the debt voluntarily. They found themselves unable to pay due to a lack of resources. Now, there's a difference between getting sent to prison and getting arrested and sent to prison. From what I'm led to believe, the councils apparently can have you prosecuted for failure to pay the council tax. And it's the magistrate which can apply to have you committed to prison for a period of time, which for anything council tax related is up to and including 3 months. Now, the idea is when it goes to bailiffs and everything else, you've got to try and head it off at the pass and get the council to deal with it all the time. There's another one here. If you are requested to attend the magistrate court because of a council tax or fine arrear, A warrant with bail can be issued if you fail to attend. This means that the magistrates can issue a warrant for your arrest. Usually, this warrant requires you to surrender yourself to the local police station, where you'll be given a time and date in which you must attend a court hearing. If the above warrant is ignored, occasionally a warrant without bail can be issued. The police are then requested by the magistrate to arrest you and detain you in custody until a hearing can be arranged, and it's usually within 24 hours. Now, they can only commit you to prison if it's proven that, there's culpable negligence, as in you're completely refusing to pay your council tax, unwilling, and there's no good reason. That is the ultimate end of the system that they will throw at you. Now, generally, when a council can't get you to pay council tax, they will then send it to a third-party debt collection agency who will then act on their behalf. But that process alone is unlawful. That's where I sit. That's where I try and help and deal with things before it gets this far. But this sovereign empowerment goes further than that. He's saying, well, hang on a minute. The damn thing is, eye-watering the illegal. And he cites different things, to convince you or show you there is an argument there. Now, just for balance, I want to show a brief bit about what Black Belt Barrister says about it, who's quite the legal guru. And again, you can just make your own mind up, which way your mind sits on this. Bear in mind, he is a barrister, and it is his job to, determine the law of the land.
April Fools, someone sent me the link to a YouTube video which was talking about how not to pay council tax, and even had a link to lots of documents that someone's put together, including PDFs, about how to go about disputing your liability to pay council tax. Now, just to be absolutely clear at the beginning, I wish this was an April Fool's joke, but it's not. The video was real, the documents are real. The only thing that isn't real is the contents. There is no way of avoiding your obligation to pay council tax. So allow me to explain. So these documents even set out a whole process that they suggest that you go through, suggesting that there is no obligation upon anyone to pay council tax. And in a very, very narrow circumstance, they're right, because there is no obligation on anyone to make a payment until they're issued with a bill in their name, which means they then have an obligation to pay council tax. If there are two people liable to pay the council tax, then it will be a joint and several liability on each of those people to pay the council tax.
Now, he's saying from the point of view of the law, there is an obligation by the fact that you've been sent a bill. Now, that seems to be the arguable grey point in this whole affair, doesn't it? And again, I will put a link in the chat to the Black Belt Barrister's video on that subject, and you can go and have a look at it. And again, if you haven't done so already, not that he needs the help because he's got thousands and thousands of subscribers, go and subscribe to him. He's very useful with all sorts of legal information. And, with the funky prepper side of things, I'll keep you posted on that. And Trevor's just said about me and him doing a live. I'll certainly get that set up in the next couple of weeks as well. That'll be a corker, that will. I look forward to it. The next story I want to tell you about, well, before I do, actually, I'm overdue saying this. Welcome, everybody, to the Daily Chat with Andy the Gabby Cabby. I'm getting carried away with all this. If you haven't done so already, please hit the like button on the chat. It's good to see everybody, and we've got some new faces as well as all the old ones. I just want to give a thank you and a shout out to all the current subscribers, the new subscribers, all the channel members, and everybody that contributes to Andy the Gabby Cabby. The channel is growing, and I'm really, really pleased. I work hard at this every day. I have a day job as well. I'm the owner of an airport transfer firm. I'm always on the road, driving my cab, going here, there, and everywhere, as my other drivers as well. So, it's very, very, very productive life, and I appreciate all of your support. It's really great. Please hit the like button if you haven't done so already, because that helps the algorithm get this chat up. And also, If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the channel as well. We love you, Andy. Thank you, Martin. I appreciate that. Great stuff. Hopefully, sometime in the next couple of weeks, Martin, as well. I'm aware of where you live. We'll try and meet up because, you know, if I get a double run or something, that'd be cool. Okay, right. The next story I want to come up with is to do with parking. Now, there'll be a video that comes out tomorrow morning, to do with a lady that had a bit of a bad experience. Thank you, Lorraine. I appreciate your support as always. You're one of my greatest supporters, and you've been with me since the start. Very, very much appreciate that. Hello, Alan. Good to see you. Yes, parking. There is a lady, and more will be explained in the video tomorrow, that went to McDonald's with her children. You know, the place of junk food, Big Macs and large fries. Had a good time, had a meal, and, you know, the children played in the play area and all the rest of the things. Lorraine, thank you. Good to see you. Take care and see you next time. Yes, played with the children with all the rest of the things and then left. Didn't think anything more about it. A few days later, she gets a letter in the post saying that she's been fined 50 quid for outstaying her welcome by 14 minutes, I think it was, by memory. 14 fucking minutes. She's started writing saying, what's happening? Why am I being fined? I just took my kids for food. Why is this happening to me? And through the process, they basically stick two fingers up and they say, tough, you're going to pay this fine. We're not going to justify it. We're not going to prove anything. We're not going to do anything. You're going to pay it or we're going to take you to court. Now, naturally, they're quaking in the boots. What am I going to do? This poor woman is a single parent, never been in debt in her life, and she doesn't know how or when she's going to pay this. It happened to somebody else in another McDonald's car park as well. They overstayed their welcome by 10 minutes. And again, a fine. I've had the same thing happen to me on many occasions. Now, the simple reason is McDonald's, fast food restaurants as a whole, supermarket car parks, hospitals, airport car parks, various other places all over the world. What they do, they take their parking management and then they give it to another company. Parking Eye, Met Parking Services, those are two I've dealt with, had the misfortune of dealing with, and the list is endless. They will then come to that car park and they will put a load of signage up in various places, which, by the way, has to be legally visible, legally sized in the right ways and everything else, with a series of terms and conditions attached, which you will not have any idea whatsoever that they're actually there unless you're looking out for them. And the usual one is you can only park here for 30 minutes or you can park here for an hour. Most McDonald's, they're 60 minutes or 90 minutes that I've come across. And if you breach that, you will get fined. Something happened to me. I drove to an airport hotel at Stansted, dropped my passengers off and left. And then what happened after that, I got a fine saying I was unlawfully parked. Excuse me, I didn't even turn the freaking engine off. I got out, unloaded my passengers, and I left. That is still ongoing. That is these private parking firms. In the last 6 months, they have handed out absolutely millions of pounds worth of fines. They are serial litigators. It all works on an assumed contract. You see, you drive into one of these places and they assume that you're going to abide by what they're telling you. Somebody ended up in court, a good couple of years ago, and this person lost. The court found in favour of the parking firm. Now, because of this apparently according to the parking firm, sets a precedent, and therefore they dictate this on all their letters as part of their fright tactics, and people just capitulate. And like credit card debts and all the rest of it is a shame. Now, there is a site which I've said about before called Beat the Bailiffs. Now, let me just show you this. Yeah, totally agree with this. These private parking companies should be made illegal. They should be scrapped, or they should have certain conditions put in place which makes it difficult for them to operate and make them think of their own accord. Why bother? Why bother? Anyway, Beat the Bailiffs. Let's have a look. This is a website, and they also have a Facebook page as well. They cover literally every kind of debt you can think of, every kind of problem you can think of: council tax, parking fines, debts, credit cards, loans, all of this sort of thing. And they will help you through the process. And again, I'll put a link in the chat to their website. Have a look. If you've got problems, you will no doubt find on there a solution to the problem. And they step you through it with template letters, the legislation, the subject access requests, everything. They've got, for example, with credit cards, there's a process called the 3-letter process. I swear by this because I know it works. I've used it before. The debt collection agencies have actually wised up to it because they're now quoting in their text that they know you're using templates and they're not going to work. There's no defense at all. Now, on here, as part of it, they've got a section specifically to do with parking. Let's bring that up. And in this case, you've got private parking dispute or council parking dispute. Now, in the case of this lady, it's a private parking dispute. So we click on here and it goes through the whole process. There's even one about hospital tickets on there as well. You know, features and all the explanatory notes about what the problem is, what they're relying on, and what you should do about it, and all the steps, and also the template letters. I mean, here's a wonderful one here, the Wong Way template. You see, unless you can prove otherwise, it's the registered keeper of the vehicle that they will come after. So in this case, I'm writing to respond to your notice to keeper. It wasn't me driving. It was my mate, Mr. Wong, who relocated to 34 Nowhere Street, China. Pretty simple. And there are other templates and other ways of dealing with it as well. And it goes all the way down. So if you do have any problems with parking or anything of that nature, either council related or private parking, and I know there is a lot in the news, you know, looking at trying to put a stop to all this, then that's well worth a look. I'll put the link in the description right there. If my enter key works, that is. Emma, where are we? I said the other night, the GP surgery I work at is mostly full of shoppers who go into the shop next door, or parents from local school, and us nurses have to park up the road. We've got a dentist near us. It's actually my dentist. They won't let anybody park in their car park at all. Staff only, end of. Everybody goes in the garden centre across the road, and they've even put a time limit on theirs as well. Screw politics. Managers can add your number plate details to their system. They do it in hotels and stuff all the time if you ask them. And inevitably that will get you out of trouble. So it's one way of doing it. So the long and short of it is, if somebody comes after you, don't roll over. There's always a way. Mum, you pointed out another way. One of the steps is talk to the landowner. In your case, Aldi in Herne Bay, you went in there, and knowing you probably cleared all the shop shelves. You do like your shopping. Speak to them, and they'll get it cancelled. I had a problem with one down at the local snooker club. They got it cancelled. Speak to the landowner. That's another way of doing it. Reform BBC, great. Thanks, Andy, for info. Big help. Reform BBC, you and I need to have a conversation as well, my friend, because you were talking about coming on here at some point. Julie Baldwin said a couple of times about my merch store. I did have a merch store, which I got rid of, and there seems to be a bit of a cry out for it again. So if anybody has any suggestions for any merch I want to see, give me a shout. We'll compile a list and see what we can do. Now, Phil Grimaldi mentioned something earlier, which comes on to the next subject. They want to introduce congestion charging within Manhattan. Now, through listening to Bill and Phil, there's cameras all over the place over there. And we're getting the same here. Cameras in London, 20-mile-an-hour zones, cameras in all of the major cities, everywhere where they're looking at this 15-minute city stuff, funnily enough. And I'm sure New York as a whole will probably be subjected to that, because you've got the boroughs, haven't you? And you could probably easily divide those off into different places and have everything you need within a stone's throw. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. But I saw this, and we know how we like to talk about our mate Sadiq. Yeah, I covered this slightly the other day. I'll put it full screen so you can see it properly. Sadiq Khan now considers charging all car users in London with a pay-as-you-drive scheme. That's the consequences of the ULEZ expansion there. See millions of drivers forced to pay $12.50 a day. I mean, at the moment, I go to City Airport. I go as far as Kidbrooke, and I'm in it. So, you know, you just have to pass the list on to the customer. Sadiq Khan has faced continued criticism over his expansion of ULEZ, which will reach out to London from August, and also parts of the M25, if you look at the map. There's 5 councils currently mounting legal challenges. The expansion will see a million more Londoners forced to pay as the mayor tries to battle pollution created in the capital. I mean, he's talking about free school meals for kids, freezing rents. Stop this madness. You'll put a lot of money back in the pockets of everybody. Khan urged Rishi Sunak to fund a scrappage scheme for the home counties, asking the Prime Minister to match 110 million the mayor had allocated to the scheme. Khan's now confirmed TfL is looking to develop a new scheme with technology that can be used to charge road users. There's an app on a phone, from what I'm looking at. Speaking at the London Assembly, ANPR cameras could form part of this, but no proposals have been developed. The ULEZ expansion will see nearly 3,000 new cameras installed. These measures have been seen as an early indicator that Khan wants to implement road user charges, according to Tory members of the London Assembly. So this this is coming, I think. As soon as the technology allows, it is coming. I'll put a link in the description to that article so you can read yourself. Sorry, I'll put it in the comments. Now, Khan currently serves as the chairman of the C40 Cities Group. And if you go on Google and look at that, you will see some of the rationale and some of the influences behind this and the agenda. I mean, you have the British government playing up and kicking off about it, but they're one of the funders of the whole thing. Bristol has one of those zones, Emma says. I mean, you've got clean air zones propping up all over the place. Some aren't charging. Some will do eventually. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. Julie Keys, I didn't know there was a time limit. I was 15 minutes over. The customer service were really good. I told them I'd spent over 90 quid in the store. This is the thing. You go in and spend 100 quid in there, come out and get fined the same again. It's absolutely unbelievable. Unbelievable. If you haven't done so already, folks, give it a thumbs up. And thank you, everybody, for joining me this evening. It's good to see you all. Also, if you haven't done so, subscribe to the channel if you're watching for the first time. And thank you to all of the subscribers, the repeat viewers, channel members, and everyone that's joining us for the first time. It's good to see you all. And we'll just have a minute just to have a look, see if there's any comments we can pick out. And then I'll talk about the last matter of the evening. What's this? Midnight Drifter 10. I'm going to buy a Derv, slap some Tesla plates on it, tune it badly, and roll coal through London. Tell me when you do it. I want to stand on the side and watch. Anna, road users. Oh, goody. That must be, by default, means cycles, e-scooters, and so on. I did see a report where they were talking about all road users, including cyclists, e-scooters, and everything else. Whether it happens, I don't know. I don't know. What else we got? As a Cabby, if Andy had key rings, that would be great. Now, there's an idea. There is an idea. How about a pet toy that is a parking ticket? I'd let my family dogs chew on those. You could take one with you, couldn't you, when you go see your mum, and let the dog chew on the parking tickets. Clean air is just a scam. The air is fine. A lot of the so-called asthma says it, doesn't it? I mean, it might be because I live by the sea, but every time I go to London, I get this horrible metallic-y taste in my mouth. It's like exhaust fumes, and I pay £12.50 to go in there. It's crazy. Retailers, restaurateurs, hoteliers can add anybody to their system in order for customers to obtain free, unrestricted parking in their car parks, regardless of who owns the parking lot. Go talk to them. I mean, like my mum said, talk to the landowner. These companies either need reining in and getting told to wind their neck in, or they need taking out the equation. I know which I'd prefer. Yes, the favourite seems to be key rings, doesn't it? I have to look into that. Definitely. Let's go a couple more. Halfords, massive car park. No cars parked there because I did not go into Halfords. I was fined 90 quid. They got naff all. Absolutely. What you used to be able to do in the old days was ignore them and they'd go away or give up in the end. But since that court judgment in their favour, they get a bit more brave. And more often than not, they will have a go at you if you do ignore them. I had a situation years ago where I did a school run and had a big minibus with a ramp on. And there was 2 disabled children in it in wheelchairs. You could fit 2 in, one behind the other. And one of them had a problem on a road in Ashford. I needed to stop immediately because the school escort I was with had to deal with the problem. I pulled into an Aldi's car park. A few days later, I got a fine in the post. I wrote and explained the situation, and they dropped it. As soon as they saw the word disabled and problem, they had to drop it. They didn't have a choice in the matter. But, you know, it's nuts the amount of people that roll over. It's like that sovereign empowerment guy says, educate yourself. Educate yourself. The more you educate yourself, the more power you retain. It's really that very simple. Last thing I want to cover this evening is our friends, the immigrants, the ones that come across the channel on those rubber blow-up thingies. It's a funny subject because every time you mention it, you get called right-wing, racist, and various other ists, beginning with various letters of the alphabet. But no matter what side of the fence you sit on, it's a problem. You could say all the hotels in the country, all the houses and everything else are being taken up by immigrants. Or you could say, oh, isn't it a human tragedy? It's many, many, many things to many, many people. And it still goes on and on and on. Does anybody know the exact figure of all of them that came into the country last year? Thousands upon thousands upon thousands. Bridget, BCTV, a different videographer, has been mentioning about them ending up down her way. Now, I'm sick to death of the politicians saying, oh, we're going to do something about it, and those in power saying we're going to do something about it. The latest is Rishi Sunak. And this is the last article. Share screen. Rishi Sunak. There we go. Lovely picture. Rishi Sunak vows to end asylum claims from small boats. From small boat arrivals in the UK. And there's an article there about it. Which again, I'll stick in the description so you can have a read. And I am sorry I'm swearing. It's the BBC. It was the most obvious one to come up. Let that sink in for a second. Rishi Sunak vows to end asylum claims from small boat people. I have a question. How many times have we heard this? How many different politicians have said this? Loads. Handy Andy makes the point. If they really want to do something about it, they would have by now. They don't, so they won't. And not only that, it's all the, I suppose, lefty lawyers, as Boris once called them. There are so many legal challenges to this all of the time. No matter, as soon as they try and get something off the ground, it stops. As soon as they try and initiate any new legislation, it stops. And it's all to do with other legislation that's there already. It's just words. We can't trust any of it. Do you trust any of it? I don't. I'm just Googling something. Bear with me. How many immigrants? I don't know whether this figure is accurate or not, but I just Googled on my phone how many immigrants crossed the channel in 2022. 2 boats from France on the 25th of December were the last recorded in 2022, according to the Ministry of Defence. And that brought the number of people who crossed to 45,756. Now, I'm not sure that figure is entirely accurate. I think there's more than that. I think there is more than that. Let's do 2023. More fingers and thumbs here. Migrants crossed the channel this year. No, they're only reporting on last year's so far. There's no current information that I can find very quickly about anything else. So there you go. But at those numbers, if you get that year after year after year, it's unsustainable. I know there are people sympathetic to it. I do. I know there are people that are against it. I do. But at the end of the day, it's a problem. And if the politicians and those we vote in to represent us do not do something about it, I do fear what will happen next. I don't know about any of you, but it's a genuine concern. It really is. Anyway, we're at the hour. Wow. It's amazing what can happen when you rabbit as much. So, Goldie's saying good night. I'm falling asleep, guys. I'm really sorry I had that effect on you, Goldie. Right. I'm going to call it a night as well. Don't start me on dinghy divers, Andy. Mick Hart stuff says. I won't. I'm not going to mention him anymore. As I said, I'm trying to set something up with a funky prepper. I'll keep you posted on where that goes. Trevor's come on tonight. Trevor Colt said he'd like to do a live with me as well. I look forward to doing that. We'll set something up with Trevor also. So, you know, a couple coming up very soon, as soon as we can get it all organised. I hope you found some use out of what we've spoken about this evening. I really do. It's all subjects that matter to us all the time. And, you know, when things matter or when someone gets shafted, I'll try and help them the best I can. You know, that's what I'm all about here. And it's good we've had some YouTubers coming in, which I've been able to give a shout out to as well. And hopefully, you know, they will progress with their channels. There'll be content coming out. Screw politics. I'd like to do a live with you in the near future. And yeah, I'll be up for that. Again, we talk privately on a regular basis. So let me know and we can put something together. That'll be fine by me. What was I going to say? Yes, there'll be content coming out tomorrow from 8 o'clock. Usual 4 videos. And hopefully you'll find them of use. And there'll be more on the story to do with the woman that fell foul of what went on with McDonald's. And that kind of ties in with what I talked about this evening. So enjoy the rest of your evenings, everybody. Thanks again for all your support and all your contributions. Very much appreciated. And to everybody that's joined in. Until next time, I bid you toodaloo.